We are up on the Coconino National Forest, doing a little shakedown run. We're out on the dusty forest roads. And I have a couple of trips, one in particular coming up a few days, hopefully, if work permits, weather permits, and God allows. I'll be on a couple day trip. And a little later on this summer, hope to get a little Utah trip in. But I want to do a shakedown run and see where we're at with everything, and then jump into some maintenance and stuff. Popping off the dirt here. This, if you're wondering, Stoneman Lake Road, and we're going to pop onto Forest Highway 3. I know there's a bunch of different names for it. That's what I call it. That's what I was told it was when I first came up here, so that's what we're going to use. This is a super pretty road. I think today we'll probably put on about 300 miles. It should give me a good idea of where we're going to be at. I've done a lot of local riding with the KTM here over the desert, over the winter. And haven't done any long distance excursions in about a year or so. It's always good to check out your equipment and make sure she's going to be up and right for the trip. KTM has always been good to me. I've only had to push her out of the forest once, and even got into the pavement. Someone gave me a bump start, and I ended up getting her home. But even on a reliable bike, you need to make sure that everything's going to work properly. Over the course of the week here, I need to pull out and organize my saddlebags and my duffel bag, restock anything that needs to be stocked or replaced, pull the tent out, make sure there's no holes in it or anything like that. Probably probably Friday, day before I take off, I'll throw the saddlebags on it, fully load it, ride it into work to make sure everything's copacetic and not cattywampus. I got the balance right. make sure my tie downs are all working. And get the feel for the bike with an extra, 50, 60 pounds on it. And most of that's, I carry a lot of extra water because even in the forest, it's a very arid climate here in Arizona. So if you want water, you got to bring it with you. And I know I've talked about it before, but always make sure you got backups for your backups. I know we all like our electronic devices. A lot of people like to use their phones. I just want to make sure that if you're using a phone, that you've got a purpose-built GPS per backup, and at a minimum you have maps to back that up or to back your phone up. The place you're riding, the pavement around it, if you're riding the forest maps. You just never know when that technology is going to fail you. A lot of people don't understand in the Southwest here, there's places that are fairly remote and big stretches of area where there is no cell service for miles. And there could be 150, 120, 200 miles between gas stations. You always want a way to communicate. Let folks know where you are so someone can come looking and how you're getting there, basically. I really suggest a personal locator beacon. I know folks don't like where I have it, but that's where I put it. But something like that, especially that's in reach, you can push the SOS button if you've got big trouble. You can text folks. On this one you can text folks. It ain't like your phone, it takes an hour to go out and an hour for the message to come back, but there's a particular way to set them up. So you need to set up contacts and things like that and pre-stored messages. I highly recommend the I believe it's called Geos Insurance. It insures you for like 100,000 a year, I think, and 50,000 per incident, something like that. Everything seems to be a helicopter ride these days, and also pays for the search and rescue. None of that's cheap and could really financially hurt you. But having that along, I mean, it's the insurance I think is like 35 bucks a year. The subscription that I have for that's like the middle of the road. There's some texts. You get like 50 texts a month or something like that, who knows. And even that's only like 20 bucks a month. I mean, people spend more of that on coffee in a day. Also, being prepared for yourself means that you can be prepared and help others. I know I could probably give you countless stories, but a couple that come up to mind is, I was riding in a club ride. It was actually an ATV club, and I was riding my dirt bike. And a guy showed up with his grandson. He had zero with him. So in Arizona, if you're down at the valley, the desert valley level, it could be 100 degrees. You come up to the pines up here, and it could be 60 degrees. Well, that was the case. He came up from the valley, and him and his grandson had shorts and, I don't know, sneakers, shower shoes, and basically nothing else. They had no water. They had nothing. By the time I got done, I had loaned the guy my spare goggles, my spare gloves, my jacket. what else? There was a couple other things. I gave him a couple of waters. So don't mind doing that to a certain extent, just until it starts impacting me and my safety. But if you're prepared, you can always help others in a more extreme sense, I guess, if you will. I was out dirt bike riding with a buddy of mine and his friend that I had never met before, and his friend was supposedly this semi-pro motocross guy or something. He didn't impress me in that way, but he was doing jumps on this KX 450 and riding around, and come to a stop, and I'm looking at his fork braces and looking at his triple trees, and there's bolts missing. I said, you're jumping 10-15 feet in the air and your forks are going to come apart. And he had no idea. He had zero with him, and luckily on my 450 I carried saddlebags with a pretty good contingent of tools and a couple of bolts here and there, and we were able to get him safe again and at least get him back to the house. But like I said, carry the stuff with you so you're prepared, and in case you run across somebody, you might be able to help them out too. Well, I'm going to continue my trip back down to the desert valley. I just want to thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching. Adios.